Okay, so I have the case Epperson v. Arkansas by me. So this case focused on the constitutionality of a 1928 Arkansas statute. The statute prohibited teaching of the human evolution theory in public schools and universities. It was enacted during a period of Christian fundamentalism in the 1920s, and the Christian fundamentalism period was in response to the new flamboyant lifestyles of the 1920s. The statute was modeled after the Tennessee Butler Act, which said no public school could teach evolution in Tennessee, and it was associated with the Scopes trial of 1925, where John Scopes was accused of teaching evolution to his class and was fined $100. The Arkansas law was passed through the initiative process, and it was the first anti-evolution law passed through general election. Teachers could face fines and dismissal if they didn't adhere to the law. This case involved a school in Little Rock 40 years later in 1968. The administrators adopted a new textbook that taught the theory of evolution, and Susan Epperson was in a dilemma because the school required her to teach it, but the law said she couldn't. So Epperson was not opposed to teaching it, but she could face dismissal. So she was backed by the National Education Association and American Civil Liberties Union and filed a lawsuit to test the constitutionality of the Arkansas state law. This case deals with First and 14th Amendment rights, and it involves freedom of speech and citizens' rights and equal protection laws, as well as the separation of church and state. More specifically, it relates to the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The Establishment Clause is a limitation placed on the federal government, preventing it from passing legislation in regards to an establishment of a religion. So the Chief Justice was Justice Earl Warren, that presided over the case, and others included Hugo Black, William Douglas, John Harlan, William Brennan, and Potter Stewart. The Chancery Court held that the Arkansas statute violated the 14th Amendment, so the lower court ruled it unconstitutional because it hinders the quest for knowledge, restricts the freedom to learn, and restrains the freedom to teach. The Arkansas Supreme Court overturned the lower court ruling, and it ruled the statute was a valid exercise of state power to specify curriculum in public schools. That left the ban on the teaching of theory of evolution in effect. So Epperson appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was found in error because the statute clearly protected a religious view and therefore is unconstitutional. The final ruling was that the Arkansas statute was in fact unconstitutional, so this led to the end of laws regarding the teaching of the theory of evolution. The court unanimously found that laws was passed for religious reasons, and the statute's primarily religious purpose violated the First Amendment requirement of neutrality between religions and between religion and non-religion. So this is a picture of all the justices that were present at the case, Epperson versus Arkansas, and in the center with the glasses is Chief Justice Earl Warren. This case set precedent that sole motive behind the bans of evolution were to protect a particular religious view. It effectively nullified all other bans on the teaching of evolution. So in the years following the case, religious opponents attempted to lessen the influence of the curriculum by requiring schools to teach biblical creation along with evolution. And it also had schools provide disclaimers that the evolution was only a theory. This case led to many other precedent-setting cases, including Daniel v. Waters, McLean v. Arkansas, Bishop v. Aronov, and Pelosa v. Capistrano School District, just to name a few.
Awesome. All right, great job.